Good morning, everybody. I've got a nuke here. I'm going to install in one of these boxes. I got a 10 frame hive over here and an 8 frame hive over there. Got my smoker, got some dry pine needles, got a little fire starter. I'm going to start the smoker because that's the first thing you'll need to do when you're going to put a nuke in. You want to make sure the bees are calm. We use a smoker to do that. And we're good to go. Take all this stuff and save it for the next time. We'll take this honey super off. And we'll pretend that this is our new 8 frame nuke. So let's do the 8 frame first. For the 8 frame, of course you have 8 frames. So when you get your new nuke, you're probably going to have just foundation. You put one on each side. But you're also going to need to feed your bees because you've only got foundation you need to get started. So let's put a in-hive frame feeder on one side. Now you notice I don't have a hive tool because I really don't need it to do this at this point. But maybe I should go get one. Mockingbird's just been going to town, hasn't it? I have found that one of these little containers works really good for carrying your tools. I have introducers and my hive tool and a brush. So there. Now, back where we were at. We have an hive feeder here. We'll put 1-to-1 sugar syrup in that. So I also carry a little bucket to put my bird comb in, coffee can or whatever. And I want to puff my smoker again, make sure it's lit. As you can see, it sits. It hasn't been doing anything, so fire kind of slows down. So you have to go ahead and pump it up again every now and then until you get it going good. There. So I'll put this down here out of the way. I'll put that there. I wouldn't wear a shirt like this because it's awful dark. I would normally have my veil and my jacket. It's just that today was nice and I'm not really dealing with bees. I'm pretending here. I'm watching the birds out there. I hear that mockingbird just going to town every now and then. So let's get back at it. I'm going to smoke this one more time so we can see that we do have smoke here. So take the lid and puff it a little bit right in there. That'll calm the bees. You wait about 30 seconds before you do anything else. Again, we have 2 frames in here that are just foundation, and we've got 1 frame feeder in it. We should have 5 frames in here, which will have maybe 3 frames of brood and a queen, and a frame of honey, and maybe they'll send just a foundation. But sometimes they'll put 2 honeys in there. So let's open her up. First of all, we'll pretend we have bees on this. This is drawn comb actually from last year. Okay, we got 1 frame of brood we're going to put right here in the center. Then we're going to see if we've got another frame of brood. Well, it's being here. Here's your frame of brood. Another frame of brood. That's 2 frames of brood. And let's pretend this is your 3rd frame of brood. So you have 3 frames of brood and you've moved your bees and your brood in here into the hive. Remember, you got 2 already that are just plain foundation. Or if you have drawn comb, it's even better, be much faster. In this case, we're going to put 2 more frames in here, and they'll be empty frames, whether they're drawn comb or not. Depends on what you have. Better to have a drawn comb. So now, there you go. Now what you have is 3 frames of brood, 1 frame of honey, or maybe 2 frames of honey and 2 empty frames. So the bees will have something to draw out. You also have 1-to-1 sugar water in your frame feeder. So now that's a full hive. And in about a week, if the flow is on, they're going to start having that drawn out, those frames that are in there. And you're going to need to put another box on because you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames in there and the feeder. At that point, you'll need to put a super on it, either a medium or a deep, depending on what your location is and a lot of other things. If you're in a warmer location, you might run single deeps, but on an 8 frame, it'd be a little tougher. You'll have to inspect more often because they're going to build out a lot faster. So if you're going to use a single one, you would probably put a queen excluder on it. And let me go get one of those. Actually, I brought 3 because there are 3 different types. Okay, this is a metal excluder. The queen can't pass through here, so you're going to keep her in the bottom box. This is for the 10 frame box. We're going to demonstrate a little bit. Another video maybe. And this is the 8 frame. Now this is a metal one. As you can see, the bees have put wax on it to block it off. But I usually clean that off before I put it on. So you'll put the queen excluder on like that. And then you go get your medium super. And on sometimes I'll mark that it's an 8 frame super. Just to make it easier to recognize it if it's sitting in a pile of supers. So then I put that on there, and then let's pretend these are 8 frames, so they would fit in here like that. In here, you're probably going to have just foundation. That gives the bees something to work on, and it keeps them from swarming so easily. If you're in a colder area, you may want to put a super on here that's a deep super, so that you have a lot more room, and that'll be for the bees to go through the winter with. But if you're in the south, I don't know. It depends on where you're at, and everything's local, so what I do may not work for you, but I'm trying to cover a few bases here. And again, this is not really just an instructional video, it's things I do. And our smokers need to be puffed up once in a while. Now this is an 8 frame migratory cover. It's got a lid in here that you can pop out or put holes in it, and you can put a pail feeder on it. And that would go over top of your whole thing and be closed. You can also do a telescoping cover, which I'll demonstrate either on this video or the next one when I put it together, depending on how long this video it gets to be. So there we are. That's basically how you would load a nuc into a box. Of course, you would probably want to put an entrance reducer here that has a small opening. It's like this is the entrance reducer right here. Oh, wait, I got this tool right over here, remember? That's why I like this here, because I can carry my extra things in it. So I have a little entrance reducer here, and I might want to use a really small entrance to start off with to keep from robbing. So that'll fit right in there like that. And so the bees can only come in and out right there. It's a very small opening. Now in a few days, once things are settled down and the hive is a little stronger, that would make a bigger opening. So that's about it for an 8 frame nuc install. A 5 frame in an 8 frame hive. There's also a queen excluder that's made out of plastic. Some people have told me that if you have plastic, you can break the wax off it easier than the metal. I haven't really found that to be true yet, but again, that would fit right on there if it was an 8 frame, just like that. I've puffed up my smoker. I take the lid off, telescoping cover. In this case, we have an inner cover. There's a little ventilation hole here, and a place where you can put a pail feeder on the inside. But if you do that, you'd have to have another box. Now, to show how to do this, I've got an entrance reducer already in here. It's got a small opening. So that's what you want to keep robbing from taking place. I also put 2 foundation frames in here, one on each side. Now, if I want to, which I probably will unless I have honey from another hive, I will put an inner feeder in it, a frame feeder like that. There's other feeders you can get. There's pail feeders. There's let's say there's other feeders, but that's one I use a lot. I also use pail feeders. So now we've got 2 frames in there, and we've got 1 feeder. So we're going to puff up the smoker a little bit, make sure it's doing good, and then we want to put a little smoke on the nuke itself and close it back up. We'll leave that set for 30 seconds or so. Again, or maybe I haven't mentioned it yet, but I wouldn't wear a shirt like this if I was doing the real thing. I'd wear my bee suit or my jacket and my veil and gloves. I wear gloves all the time because I don't like getting stung. But anyway, now we've made the smoke in here. Our smoker's set aside someplace where it's not going to catch something on fire. That's important. So we'll open this up. Again, I have gloves on, or I'm got my bee suit on, so I'm not concerned with that. The bees are flying around a little bit. Let's pretend. So in here we have 5 frames. Let's say this one has bees on it and brood on it. Usually there's 3 frames of brood, 1 frame of honey, and this is another brood, and 1 empty frame without any honey or drawn comb. But if you have drawn comb, you might be lucky. They may have drawn comb in it with a little honey in it. So you put that on the side too. Now, if you've got 1 frame that has honey on it, you can put that on one side of the brood. If you got a frame of drawn comb with some brood on it, you can put that in. Now you put those to the center. So basically, let's see, we've got 2, let's say 3 on each side of comb. This comb that you're from your new hive that you just bought or you just brought home. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, it doesn't quite fit because this frame feeder is a little wider than some. It takes up 2 frame spaces. But you can get one with just a single. So what I do is I move this feeder over just a little bit like that, and I move this towards the center. Again, our brood is right here in these 3 in the middle. On each side there's honey or maybe honey and some brood. And that's basically the install. So then I take my inner cover and I say, put it up like that. And then I put my telescoping cover on top of it, and I'm done. I might set a brick on it just to show that I have a queen in there. Now, one more thing is, if I was going to put a super on, say I had a super that had drawn comb, everything had drawn comb, 100% drawn comb, then I might put a super on it, but I probably wouldn't do that for a couple of weeks. If the flow was going on in a couple of weeks, I'm going to put another deep super on it. Or, I'm in North Carolina. If you're in Georgia, South Georgia, you might be running just mediums, like the 8 frame here. If you're running a medium and a deep, you would put the queen excluder above those, and your honey super would go on top of that. The honey super would be for you, the one below would be for the bees, to get them through winter. That's basically it, how do you put together a hive with a new nuke. There are several other methods you can do. You might have bees that you can split and get a queen and start over, and we'll talk about that another day. Also, sometimes I don't know what I was going to say there. So I hope that this has helped you figure out what I'm doing, and maybe you get a few tips that you can use yourself. Like I said, there's always a wrong way and a right way. My way may be the wrong way. Somebody else's may be the wrong way. Somebody else may be the right way. You maybe find something that I say that works for you. But you got to make sure you make an educated guess. If this is your first time, you need to study and make sure that you know what you're doing before you get your bees. Because when you get the bees, it's up to you to take care of them. If you want to get them through the winter, you need to be able to put it together so your first year and get your bees up and running, and make sure that they have plenty of stores to get through winter. And on your second year, maybe you'll get some honey for yourself. Thank you for watching. I hope you will definitely subscribe. I appreciate it. It helps me a lot, and I'll make more videos if I have more interest. Thank you very much.